go to a tea shop or a cafe, I'm gonna go right to the source, to a tea farm. The coolest experience. This is one of my most favorite dream experiences that I got to do during my month in Japan. I did a day tour at a tea farm in Wazuka, which is outside of Kyoto, and it's called Matcha. This tour was one of the best tours I've actually been on in my life. Let me tell you why. First of all, everything is coordinated seamlessly. The instructions were really clear. We had to take a train from Kyoto to a specific station, which was only 15 minutes, wasn't that far. And then when we exited the station, they told us exactly which exit to get out of, and there was a branded bus in the parking lot. Matcha, very easy to find. The bus was arranged by Matcha, and you pay for your bus ride at the end of the tour. The bus ride was about 40 minutes long, very comfortable. I have to ask all of you, are you matcha lovers like me? Would you do a matcha farm experience? Let me know in the comments. The day was structured like this. We get to the farm. The first thing that we do is we enter into the store. At the store, we're given information. We're learning about the farm in general. In terms of accessibility, they're providing a lot of written information throughout the tour. So every time that you're in the shop, seated at the tables, and they're explaining things, they provide these laminated information, almost like placemat size. The sencha tasting, where you're tasting the tea, I had all the names of the teas right in front of me. So that supported me so much when I was listening to them explain. They also, at the beginning, had a general one explaining about tea and the different types, and so much information, and that really helps me learn. So I love that they're designing the tours in a way that's accessible for different ways of communicating and learning. And they also included videos with captions at different points. So that is nice too. So you're not always listening to someone talking. You're seeing a video, you're kind of switching it up. We did a whole farm tour. The tour was incredible. One thing I super appreciated was the organization at every point. Even just coming in, there were name tags. It eliminated all the awkwardness of I'm in a room with a bunch of people I haven't met and I don't know where to sit. I didn't have to think about that at all. And my seat was right in the front, close to the speaker, which helped me read lips. The owner is the one who leads the experience. His name is Daiki. He is very, very knowledgeable. He was very involved. And I emailed him ahead of time. I asked him a bunch of questions. He was responsive. He answered all of my questions, and he was super receptive to my accessibility needs. One thing that I asked him was to wear my microphone when speaking. When he led the farm tour, he had the microphone on the whole time, not a problem, very welcoming, and I got the access I needed. I could understand what he was saying. I only had to ask him to repeat a few times. That's such a difference from my everyday experience when I'm not wearing the microphone. Especially when I'm in a large group tour, I also have to manage navigating from one spot to the next. So there's kind of a mental load that's already on me. So if I can reduce that by making hearing easier, it's so much better. It was the perfect time to visit, April, because the harvest has not started yet. And also the shading of the matcha had not started yet. I didn't know about this, but they cover up the matcha plant for at least 20 days, and they shade it right when it's I think beginning to bloom, the leaves that they're going to harvest. And that is what makes matcha different than other types of green tea, that shading. What happens then though is that it's going to be covered up, but we didn't see that. We saw just green tea trees, so beautiful, and they're manicured. So some of them, they look like they're rolling, and Daiki told us that that's something they look like bushes, but they're actually trees because they are kept that way so they don't grow super tall, and they're easy to pick and you can harvest them easily. The farm is very large, and he's doing a lot of experimentation. He's also doing a lot of kind of risk planning. So by having the tea planted in different areas, they're getting different temperatures, getting different soil. If a harvest goes bad in one area, they can still harvest in another area. They're also planting different cultivars. And my tea brain exploded over this. When we are drinking tea, so many times on the label, sometimes you don't even know where the tea is from, like what country the tea is from. Now, I learned from Daiki that many like matcha wholesalers might be mixing different cultivars of matcha into one product. And so they're not going to be able to say, oh, this is like the type of matcha you're drinking. But Daiki's not doing that at D-Matcha. He's growing in specific areas only one cultivar in a section. So then they can harvest it and sell it, and they sell direct to consumer. So that is a specific type of plant with a flavor that they can then describe. So you can pick as like single origin, just like coffee, a single origin matcha, which I've never experienced before. And I have not, at this point of recording this video, started trying the matcha powders that I bought in Japan because I am saving them for a little later in my travel journey, but I cannot wait to try them because I bought different cultivars. And I bought my favorite one that I tasted in the tasting, and then I also got one that is a little more expensive that said it had like a tiny like marine taste to it. So I'm really excited about trying that one too. That's something really unique as well that I appreciated about this experience, getting to try like single origin matcha and learning all about the cultivars. One cool thing that we did after we went outside on the farm tour is we got to see, I believe it was Shinto temple that was up on a hill, and Daiki told us about a more accessible way to get up there. So my partner and I went up a different way than everyone else, which they went up a bunch of steps. So that was their choice. They could have come with us too. But there were multiple ways to even get up to the temple. So there was no part of the tour where I was left out. When we walked after the temple, there was a time in the tour where we picked tea leaves right off of the trees, and those tea leaves, they fried them for us. Delicious. To just have a little like snack. Obviously it's not going to fill you up, but it will tantalize you. It was so good. I really enjoyed everything about the tour. The space was beautiful and modern. I also just like learning about like the business side of things because I am an entrepreneur. So I really thought it was so cool everything they're doing there. They have a tourism part where you can stay on the farm. You can stay overnight. Well, that's a great revenue stream for them. They also are bringing in interns every year in a very competitive program. Over 400 people applied for their last round of internships, which they only gave to, I think, 20 people. So that's highly competitive. After the farm tour, we did tea tastings. So I love that they did tea tastings because so many people love matcha and they don't take the time to learn about the full scope of tea and tea culture and other types of tea and Japanese tea. So we tasted 3 different green teas. I believe they were all senchas. Then we tasted 3 matchas. We had demonstrations on grinding the matcha, on how do you brew it in a ceremonial style with just water. I know a lot of us are used to matcha lattes, but the traditional way is with hot water at a very specific temperature. Then we also had lunch, and it was tea infused in the menu. There were different options. I had matcha tan noodles, which were very, very tasty, very flavorful. So not only is the tour good, the food was good. We had desserts that were matcha flavors, different kinds, and my partner and I ordered some extra because we just wanted to try all the things. For us, we wanted to try the matcha cheesecake, and we also tried matcha, we think it was a tiramisu, but we can't remember right now. It was like a mousse, so I think it could have been a tiramisu, yes. It was so good, but they already gave us some really good desserts included with the tour. So we kind of ate a lot of sweets that day. Yum, it's fine. They were also delicious. At the end of the tour, there's time to shop in the store, which I was super excited about by that point because I learned that D-Matcha does not use pesticides, insecticides, or chemicals when it's producing its matcha. And when you drink matcha, because it's ground, you are ingesting the whole thing. It's very important to me to not have exposure to toxins as much as I can avoid it. I was like, okay, I'll buy 2 packs of matcha. No, then I was like, I need to buy more. 3 packs, 4, I think I ended up buying 5. That's good. I'm having good matcha for a long time. Another thing that they are going to be doing very soon is processing all of their matcha on the farm. So they are creating a factory to do that. I love seeing, okay, they're making all these investments in their business to have control over the process from the beginning to the end and have those high standards. So I really liked seeing all of those things. And that is something that we saw on the tour too, a factory where you can process the tea, not the matcha, the tea that they're growing. So there's sencha varieties, for example. And it's hard to believe that so much happens. It wasn't like a very big space, but so much happens there, and it goes through the whole process. Japanese tea is steamed. That's something that's different from Chinese tea. So we learned where that happens in the process. It's not steamed for very long. It's a quick steam, but it's very important to the process of making Japanese tea. I could talk about this tea tour all day long. Tea Matcha is truly a gem. I want businesses that are doing good to continue to have good business. And they're doing really well, but I think that anybody that's going to Kyoto is going to hear about Uji. If you're into matcha, like, oh, you have to go to Uji. That's where you go if you like matcha. But when I was researching what to do, I learned that Uji is for processing the matcha. You're not going to see the farms and the beautiful tea trees if you go to Uji necessarily. Like it's a city. So I don't know how big it is, but it's definitely a different experience. And I was looking to go right to the beginning of the journey, to go to the farm. I'm so glad that I found Matcha. One thing that is also really nice about what Matcha is doing is that they're thinking about their place and their own community. They are in a small area, like, a lot of places in Japan we learn are having a reduction in population over time, and a lot of the population, especially in certain towns and villages, is older people. So even if they're not facing that loss of population now, it's going to continue to happen. Daiki and Matcha are thinking about how can they bring more people to the town, how can they continue to revitalize it and contribute. So one thing that is happening is full-time employees are living in Wazuka, are part of the community there, and they're also taking care of the shrine and contributing. So I love hearing about that. All right, tell me, how do you like your matcha best? Are you a matcha latte lover? Are you actually into the ceremonial style? Are you eating it and sweets? Because I see my matcha ice cream everywhere now. Let me know in the comments, and let me know if there's anything else that you want to hear about my trip to Japan. じゃあね、また明日! See you next time!